with 1,000 of his supporters chanting his name, or at least the more easily repeated abbreviation. Anthony Albanese is Australia's new Prime Minister, and Labour are back in power after their first win in a decade.
Tonight, the Australian people have voted for change. I am humbled by this victory, and I'm honoured to be given the opportunity to serve as the 31st Prime Minister of Australia. It says a lot about our great country that the son of a single mum who was a disability pensioner, who grew up in public housing down the road in Camperdown, can stand before you tonight as Australia's Prime Minister.
After early predictions of a hung parliament, Labour's win looks slim. The same can't be said for the scale of defeat for Scott Morrison and his Conservative coalition.
It's a difficult night for Liberals and Nationals around the country, as nights like this always are. They are humbling, but so is victory. Victory is also humbling and always should be. Tonight, I've spoken to the Leader of the Opposition and the incoming Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and I've congratulated him on his election victory this evening.
Prime Minister of Australia since 2018. In his concession speech, Scott Morrison said he's also stepping down as leader of the Liberals. His stance on fossil fuels, his net zero reluctance, were a misstep, it seems, with voters in some affluent urban areas, where there were wins for independent candidates, many of them women who'd campaigned hard on climate change.
Together, we can end the climate wars. Together, we can take advantage of the opportunity for Australia to be a renewable energy superpower.
Anthony Albanese is hardly a political newcomer. It was 1996 when he was elected to the House of Representatives. All the same, he says his win means Australia has voted for change.
Well, earlier I spoke to the veteran Australian journalist Hugh Rimmington of 10 News First. I asked him to explain what has happened in this election.
What we've seen is an historic moment. There have only been 4 times that the Labor Party has achieved government from opposition in Australia since the Second World War. 1972, 1983, 2007, and again tonight, the Labor leader, Anthony Albanese, an interesting character, a sort of log cabin to the White House sort of figure. He was raised by a single mother with a disability in public housing in the fairly mean inner city streets of Sydney. He has risen now to become the 31st Prime Minister of Australia.
He is, exactly as you say. That is a really interesting backstory. How much do you think that played?
Well, I think it humanises him a little bit. And I think what we've really seen in this election is a number of things, but perhaps the most salient aspect of it has been a swing by female voters. And some people are saying we're witnessing the end of a kind of an alpha male Australian leader that have been the type of leader that Australians have turned to again and again. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, has seen a swing against him among female voters of well over 6% from what we understand so far of the votes. So women have turned against the Conservative government. Not only that, the other thing which is fascinating is that the wealthiest Australians have turned against a Conservative government. So the Sydney harbourside suburbs with their glorious views and the multi-million-dollar mansions, and the old money suburbs of Melbourne, for a long time, the heartland of the Conservative movement, have actually ditched the Conservative Party in favour chiefly of independents. Almost every single one of them women.
And why do you think that is?
People are they've just fed up with there not being a really credible response to climate change. And so people who have carried both the Labor Party that's now moving to government, but also those independents who have carried strongly in their platform a desire for better action on climate change have been rewarded at this election.
As you say, the significant growth in independence, you know, this Teal independent group doing really, really well. What will that mean for policy going forward for Australia? What will Australia look like?
The Greens movement, which has only had one seat for many, many years, looks like it might come home with 5. And the other independent groups, the counting is still going on, but it looks as if they're going to pick up a significant new number of seats. So they're going to be really important. It looks like it's going to be a minority government for Labor, although they shall have no problem getting a stable government, forming deals with a couple of these crossbenchers. But it's these parties that and independents who are going to be really significant in the future.